After years of working 2 jobs to pay for my brother's education, I found out he had been spreading lies about me, and the worst part was realizing that my entire family believed him instead of recognizing the countless sacrifices I had made for him. 3. I kissed Sarah from accounting in the supply closet at 20:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, and the moment our lips touched, I knew I was about to destroy everything I'd spent 12 years building. But God helped me, after months of her telling me I was so much more intelligent than people gave me credit for, and deserved better than being taken for granted. I wanted to feel wanted more than I wanted to stay faithful. My wife Emma was 7 months pregnant with our third kid. Our older two, Lily 9 and Marcus 6, had been asking why daddy was always at work, why mommy cried when she thought they weren't looking, why we couldn't afford the school trip like their friends. The truth was I'd been working construction during the day and doing Uber Eats until midnight, trying to keep us afloat while Emma dealt with severe morning sickness that lasted all day. Sarah worked in the office of the construction company. Designer clothes, no kids, drove a BMW her ex-husband still paid for. She'd started staying late when I'd come in to drop off paperwork, asking about my day, bringing me coffee. Work so hard, she'd say, touching my arm, I know one at home appreciates what sacrifice. She was wrong, but it felt right. The affair started with text, work stuff, then complaints about our respective situations. Emma was always tired, and never wanted to do anything anymore. Sarah's ex was controlling, and didn't understand her. We were both victims, we told ourselves, both deserving of happiness. 3 weeks of texting became meeting for drinks to vent. Drinks became dinner at a hotel restaurant 40 minutes from our neighborhood. Dinner became a room upstairs. I told it was just physical, that I loved Emma, loved my kids, but needed this outlet. Sarah understood the pressure I was under. She didn't judge me for falling asleep in my work clothes or having sawdust in my hair. She made me feel like a man instead of just a paycheck. That was different. Urgent. Sarah would text me at lunch, room 237. 20 minutes. I'd race over, we'd tear at each other's clothes, and afterward I'd drive back to work feeling electric and disgusted in equal measure. Emma started asking why I was showering when I got home from work. I said it was because of the construction dust, but really it was because I could smell Sarah on me, her vanilla perfume, her shampoo, her skin. I'd stand under the hot water scrubbing raw, practicing the lies I'd tell if Emma asked about my day. The pregnancy was getting harder on Emma. She'd fallen asleep sitting in bed 3 nights that week, her laptop open to job listings she couldn't apply for because we couldn't afford daycare for the baby. I'd find her crying over bills, over the kids' worn out shoes, over nothing at all. I'm trying. I'd tell her, holding her while she sobbed into my shoulder. I'm doing everything I can, but I wasn't. Half my emotional energy was going to a woman who couldn't have cared less about my mortgage payment or my daughter's upcoming dance recital or the fact that my son still wet the bed when he was scared. Sarah would complain that I talked about my family too much. This is supposed to be our time, she'd say, rolling over in whatever hotel bed we'd defiled that week. Can't just be present with me. I should have realized then that she didn't want me. She wanted the version of me that existed in hotel rooms and restaurant booths, the fantasy man with no responsibilities beyond making her feel desired. But I was addicted to feeling appreciated, to having someone choose me, not need me out of necessity but want me out of desire. Emma loved me, but she loved me like she loved oxygen, essential but taken for granted. The night Emma went into labor 5 weeks early, I was with Sarah at her apartment. Emma had been having contractions all day but said they felt like Braxton Hicks. I'd gone to work late, and instead went to Sarah's place where she'd made dinner and bought an lingerie. My phone buzzed at 9:15 p.m. Emma's contact photo, her laughing at our wedding, flower crown crooked, dress stained with cake frosting, filled the screen. The contractions are 2 minutes apart, she gasped. I called my mom but she's 40 minutes away. Can meet me at the hospital. I was in Sarah's bed, on my breath, another woman's lipstick probably still on my collar. Of course, I said. I'll be right there. Sarah rolled her eyes seriously. We planned this whole evening. I stared at her. My wife was about to give birth to our child, possibly alone, and this woman was annoyed about interrupted dinner plans. I have to go, I said, reaching for my cloths. Always have to go, Sarah snapped. When is it going to be about us? Never, I realized with perfect clarity. It was never going to be about us because there was no us. There was me destroying my family for a few hours a week with someone who saw my actual as an inconvenience. I drove 90 miles per hour to the hospital, calling Emma's mom to make sure someone was with her. Emma's mother had beaten me there, thank God, and was holding Emma's hand in the delivery room when I burst through the doors. Emma looked at me with such relief and love that I wanted to disappear into the floor. Made it, she whispered. Our daughter was born 20 minutes later. Healthy, beautiful, perfect. Emma cried holding her and I cried too, but my tears weren't just joy. They were guilt so heavy I could barely breathe. I looked at my newborn daughter, at my exhausted wife, at Emma's mother who was taking pictures with hands that shook from driving so fast to be there. And I knew I was going to have to tell them what I'd done. I planned to end it with Sarah the next day, but she texted me before I could call her. Congratulations on the baby. When can I see? I missed. I stared at the message while Emma slept in the hospital bed, our daughter on her chest. The audacity of it, asking when she could see me while my wife recovered from emergency surgery, because the baby had gotten tangled in the umbilical cord. We need to talk, I texted back. Good, I've been thinking about us too. About what comes next. What comes next? Like my family was just an obstacle to navigate around. I met her that evening in the hospital parking lot. Emma's mom was staying overnight and I told them I needed to grab clothes and check on the other kids at home. This has to stop, I said before Sarah could even get out of her car. She laughed, actually laughed. We're having new baby guilt, it's normal, we'll get over it. No, I won't get over it, and I don't want to. This was a mistake. Sarah's expression shifted from amused to cold. A mistake. 6 months of mistakes. Less. What about everything told me? About how Emma doesn't appreciate, how not happy, how deserve better. I was lying to. And to Pon. So just gonna go back to miserable little and pretend this never happened. The casual cruelty in her voice hit me like a My miserable little. My wife who'd worked 2 jobs herself until the pregnancy complications. My kids who drew me pictures and saved me their Halloween candy. My newborn daughter who had my eyes and Emma's stubborn chin. Yeah, I said. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Sarah got quiet. Too quiet. Know what? She said finally. Maybe Emma should know what kind of man she married. My went cold. What are saying? I'm saying I have 6 months of texts, pictures of us together, hotel receipts with both our names on them. I'm saying if Think can just walk away from me like I'm nothing or wrong. I stared at her. This woman I'd thought I'd fallen for, who I'd risked everything for, was to destroy my family out of spite. Wouldn't. Try me. I spent the next 3 days in. Emma came home with baby Sophie, and our house filled with the chaos of new. Lily and Marcus were obsessed with their little sister, fighting over who got to hold her first after school. Emma was exhausted but glowing, taking 1,000 pictures, calling her parents every few hours with updates. I pretended everything was normal while checking my phone obsessively waiting for Sarah to make good on her. She didn't text me directly. Instead she texted Emma. Hi, this is Sarah from Dan's work. I think there's something should know about husband. Emma showed me the message on Thursday morning. Sophie was 3 days old, sleeping in the bouncy seat while Emma tried to eat breakfast one-handed. Do you know what this is about? Emma asked, her voice casual but her eyes watchful. I could have lied, should have lied. But looking at Emma holding our baby, wearing the hospital bracelet she hadn't taken off yet, I couldn't do it anymore. Yeah, I said. I do. The words that came out of my mouth next were the hardest I'd ever spoken. I told Emma everything. The text, the hotels, the lie about working late, the fact that I was with Sarah when she went into labor. Emma didn't scream, didn't throw anything. She just stared at me while I talked, her face getting paler and paler, until she looked like she might faint. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. Sophie started fussing and Emma mechanically picked her, started bouncing her. 6 months. Emma said finally yes. While I was pregnant, yes. While I was sick every day and couldn't work and were supposedly to support us. Who Emma? Don't. Her voice was sharp enough to glass. Don't dare try to explain this to me right now. Well, she walked out of the kitchen, carrying Sophie upstairs. I heard the bedroom door close then lock. Lily came downstairs ready for school, backpack on, lunchbox in hand. Where's Mommy? She asked. She's not feeling well. I'll drive today. Lily studied my face with the unnerving perception of a 9-year-old. Is the baby sick? No, baby Sophie is fine. Then why do look like we're gonna throw? Because I was. Because I just watched my wife's heart break in real time, and I was the one who'd broken it. Emma didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. I picked the kids from school, made them dinner, helped with homework, all while she stayed upstairs with the baby. When I tried to bring her food, she opened the door just wide enough to take the plate, then closed it again without looking at me. Marcus asked why Mommy wasn't coming down for dinner. She's tired from having the baby, I said. But she came down yesterday. Kids notice everything. They were going to notice that Daddy was sleeping on the couch, that Mommy cried when she thought they weren't looking, that the air in the house felt different now, heavier, sadder, broken. That night, Emma finally came downstairs. It was after midnight and I was lying awake on the couch, staring at the ceiling. I need to leave, she said. Emma, please, we can work through this. I'll do anything. I'll do anything except the one thing I needed to do, which was not cheat on me while I was carrying child. It's over. I ended it. She means nothing to me. She meant enough for to lie to me every day for 6 months. She meant enough for to choose her over being here when daughter was born. I didn't have an answer for that because she was right. I need to pack a bag and go, Emma said. I need time to think, and I can't do that with here. What about the kids? What about them? Should have thought about them before decided to their family. I packed a bag and drove to my brother's house at 1 a.m. Tom opened the door in his pajamas, took one look at my face, and let me in without questions. Want to talk about it? He asked after I'd collapsed on his couch. I cheated on Emma, I said. She kicked me out. Tom was quiet for a long time. Then, Jesus Dan. Why? I don't know. But that was a lie. I knew exactly why. Because Sarah made me feel important instead of just necessary. Because I was selfish. Because I wanted to feel desired more than I wanted to protect the people who loved me. What are going to do? I don't know that either. But I did know one thing. Emma was right to kick me out. Right to protect herself and our kids from the man who'd proven he couldn't be trusted with their hearts. I'd spent 6 months telling I deserved better. Turns out, they deserved better. And better meant without me. Emma filed for divorce 3 weeks later. I shouldn't have been surprised, but somehow I was. I'd been living at Tom's place, seeing the kids every other weekend, going to couples counseling sessions where Emma sat stone-faced while I begged for another chance. I don't understand why you're giving on us, I said during our last session. Emma looked at the therapist, then at me. Gave on us 6 months ago. I'm just making it official. The divorce papers cited irreconcilable differences, but we both knew what it really said. Husband destroyed family for meaningless affair. Sarah had quit her job the week after I ended things, but not before she'd managed to text Emma screenshots of our conversations. The worst ones. The ones where I'd complained about Emma being needy. During her pregnancy, where I'd called, trapped by my responsibilities, where I'd said I needed space to be point. Emma's lawyer used those texts to argue for full custody with supervised visitation. I got every other Saturday 10 to 4 p.m. at a community center downtown. Lily understood what was happening in the way that smart kids do. She knew Daddy had done something bad, and that's why he didn't live at home anymore. She was angry with me but tried to hide it, asking careful questions about when I was coming back. I'm not, sweetheart, I told her during our 3rd supervised visit. Mommy and I are getting divorced. Because of what did? Wes. What did do? How to explain adultery to a 9-year-old? How to tell daughter that her father is the kind of man who breaks promises? I made some very bad choices, I said. I Mommy's feelings very badly. Did say sorry. I did, but sometimes sorry isn't enough to fix things. Lily thought about this while she colored. Ergo to my feelings too. The question hit me like a truck. I hope not, baby. I'm going to try very hard not to. Marcus handled it differently. At 6, he didn't understand the specifics, but he understood that his world had changed overnight. He started wetting the bed again, having tantrums at school, asking when daddy was coming home every single day. Emma texted me updates about the kids' struggles. Not to be cruel, but because she was overwhelmed handling 3 children alone, one of them a newborn, while processing her own trauma. Marcus asked his teacher if all daddies leave, she texted. She called to talk to me about it. I had to explain our situation to his teacher. To his teacher Dan. Because our 6-year-old thinks fathers just abandon their families. I read that text sitting in my studio apartment, the only place I could afford on my single income. No furniture except a mattress on the floor and a folding chair. Pictures of my kids taped to the wall because I couldn't afford frames. The worst part wasn't the loneliness or the guilt, though both were crushing. The worst part was watching my family heal without me. Emma started therapy, joined a mom's group, got a part-time remote job she could do while the baby napped. Her Instagram post showed playdates and birthday parties, family dinners with her parents, beach trips where Lily and Marcus played in the sand while Sophie slept in her carrier. They looked happy, not the desperate, overwhelmed happiness of people pretending everything was fine, but genuine joy. Emma's smile in those pictures was different than it had been in the last months of our marriage, lighter, more natural. She'd lost the weight from the pregnancy and looked beautiful, confident. Comments on her posts were full of heart emojis and were glowing, from friends and family. My own social media had gone dark. What was I supposed to post? Pictures of my empty apartment. Updates about eating dinner alone every night. Photos of supervised visits with my kids who asked fewer and fewer questions about when I was coming home. I ran into Emma's sister at the grocery store 6 months after the divorce was finalized. "How are doing, Dan?" Jessica asked, but her tone was polite, not kind. "I'm okay. How's Emma? How are the kids?" "They're good. Really good actually. Emma started dating someone." The words hit me like a physical. "Oh. He's great with the kids. Lily really likes him. And he treats Emma the way she deserves to be treated." The message was clear, he treats her better than did. I'm glad she's happy. Though. Jessica's expression was skeptical, because look pretty miserable. "I miss my family. Should have thought of that before cheated on pregnant wife." I didn't have an answer for that because she was right. That night, I looked at Emma's Instagram again. There was a new post: Emma and the kids at a pumpkin patch, Sophie strapped to Emma's chest, Lily and Marcus running through a corn maze. In the background of one photo, barely visible, was a man's hand on Emma's shoulder. My replacement was already there, already part of their world, already trusted with my children's happiness. I'd been gone from their daily lives for 8 months, and they'd already built something new without me. Something that didn't include the father who'd chosen a coworker's attention over his family's security. The comments on Emma's posts had stopped mentioning me entirely. At first, friends and family had asked how I was doing, expressed hope that we'd work things out. Now the comments were just celebration of Emma's new, encouragement about her strength, excitement about her fresh start. I'd become a cautionary tale. The ex-husband who'd thrown away a good woman and beautiful children for someone who didn't even want him once the thrill was gone. Sarah had moved to another state with a new job, new boyfriend, new. She'd gotten what she wanted, chaos and drama and the satisfaction of destroying something stable. Then she'd moved on like it was nothing. But I was still living with the consequences of our choices. Every supervised visit, every awkward school event where Emma and her boyfriend sat together while I sat alone, every birthday party I wasn't invited to, every milestone I'd miss. Last month, Lily lost her first tooth. She called to tell me about it during my scheduled phone time, voice lispy and excited. "The tooth fairy brought me $5, she said. "Wow, that's amazing, sweetheart." Mommy's friend Jake said the tooth fairy is very generous in our house because we have such good kids. Jake. Her boyfriend had a name now, a relationship with my daughter's bedtime routine. Input on tooth fairy economics. "That's great, Lily. Jake is teaching me to ride my bike without training wheels." Mommy said probably don't have time cause work so much. Emma was protecting me, giving me an excuse for my absence that wasn't. Daddy destroyed our family and now we see him 6 hours a week. But Lily was 7 now, and she was starting to figure out that other dads made time for bike riding lessons. When I hung the phone, I sat in my empty apartment and finally understood what I'd lost. It wasn't just my wife and kids. It wasn't just my house and my family pictures and my place at the dinner table. I'd lost the right to be their person. The right to be the one they called with good news, the one who solved their problems, the one who got to watch them grow every day instead of just during court-mandated visits. Someone else was reading bedtime stories to my children, someone else was comforting Emma when she had a bad day, someone else was building the I'd thrown away. And the worst part was they were all better off without me. I'd spent 6 months during my marriage feeling unappreciated, telling I deserved more attention, more recognition, more gratitude for my sacrifices. Now I had all the space in the world to feel sorry for, and no one left who cared enough to listen. Turns out the appreciation I'd been so desperate for was always there. I'd just been too selfish to see it past my own wounded ego and wandering eyes.